last. Hi, I'm Wade.
And I'm Lorraine.
And we are
on the off-ramp. It's early May and we are excited about testing out our Xantrex off-grid system, you know, the batteries and solar panels, all of that we have put into the van.
And our goal now is to give it a good robust try just to see how well will it perform if we are mooch docking and boondocking and dry camping, and we'll see how long it's going to last. Hey everyone, Wade here, and I am very excited to welcome you to On the Off-Ramp. If you enjoy affordable RV adventure and discovering new locations, you're in the right place. We've been having a blast creating awesome content for you, and we want to take this journey to the next level. But to do that, we need your support. It's simple, really. All you need to do is hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. By doing so, you not only join our fantastic community, but it also shows your support for the channel. Don't worry, it's free, and you'll be the first to know when we drop new content. And if you've enjoyed this video or any of our other previous ones, smash that like button. It helps us reach more people and lets us know you want more of this awesome content. So what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button, like this video, and let's make On the Off-Ramp the best community on YouTube. Thank you for supporting us on the Off-Ramp. After arriving home from our wonderful van trip that we took to Florida in the spring of 2023, we took a month off. In May, we decided to take out the van and test out the Xantrex system that we installed. Our first stop was a trip to the Whiteshell Provincial Park, and because it was pre-camping season, the campgrounds were still closed, so we stayed on the driveway of a family cottage. The skies were clear, so our batteries stayed fully charged. And then of course, driving around the park, we also kept charging the battery, so we had no problem with energy creation and energy consumption during that time. If you've ever been to the Whiteshell Provincial Park, one of the main hikes, it's not the longest, it's not the hardest, but one of the main hikes here is a hike to Pine Point Rapids. It's about 2.5 kilometers to 3 kilometers one way if you take just the abbreviated version.
Yeah, I don't know it. I mean, at one point you're right climbing over the Canadian Shield, you're on the rocks like crazy, and in the next point you're just walking a pathway through forest. So you can kind of choose which route you want to do. Yeah, and you get to walk along the Whiteshell River, and it's beautiful.
And it is a beautiful hike, and the falls are always lovely. It's just a beautiful place to be. With the battery, what we're finding is between the use of the biggest usage is probably the CPAP machine overnight, but we were running that off of the 12-volt system, not off of the 110, so we can actually have the inverter turned off for that.
And therefore it uses less battery.
Yeah, the inverter. So this is something for those of you that have, like we found this with our Jackery already too. If you're running something on there and you have the option to run it on 12 volt, run it on 12 volt, not on the 110, because you'll find that it actually uses less battery power because it's not converting the energy. So between that, with Lorraine's coffee, because we have to make coffee every morning, we do have to turn on the inverter for that to heat that up. Oh, and then my computer.
Yeah.
And then
charging a few devices.
Yeah, charging a few devices. Even that we can charge using just the 12-volt system.
Yeah, so we don't have huge electrical demand on the system, but it's sure nice to be able to turn on the lights, and it's nice to be able to make my coffee in the morning with my electric coffee pot maker. Hit
the evening at 100% battery charge. By the morning, we are down to about 82, 83%. So we use, I guess, about 18% battery power. We figure we could probably go 4 to 5 days without any recharging capabilities at all.
So that means like no driving around. We could just park somewhere and sit there for 4 days, which actually, to be honest, we almost never do.
No, we don't. we try to do so much discovering with hiking and just seeing different things that we are often on the move. Even if we're staying at the same site for 2 nights, we're still always on the move.
So even here at the Whiteshell, we're mooch docking on this driveway, but in reality, we're driving over to the various hikes we want to do. We're driving over to the falls we want to see. Yeah. We're checking out campgrounds. So we probably even drove around for about an hour and a half, 2 hours on each day.
Which really recharges the system quickly. But we visited Rainbow Falls, and we took the hike at Pine Point Rapids.
Pine Point Rapids, beautiful hike.
And then we went down to Nudamik Lake, and so we're doing the discovering. We're driving around, it's charging the system. And then we also have the solar panels on there too. So it is keeping us up to date and up to charge. One of our annual stops is always Winnipeg Beach Campground, Winnipeg Beach Provincial Park. And it's just one of those nice campgrounds where you can bicycle, around the community and spend time at the beach and Gimli's nearby and just going visiting. To further test our system, we headed out to western Manitoba and to Turtle Mountain Provincial Park, and we stayed at Adam Lake where we got a site that had no hookups, and we wanted to again check our power and just to see how we can make out. We were here for 3 or 4 days, and again, lots of rain, lots of cloud, but we still had enough energy to keep us going. We never needed to use the generator. And if you do come out to Turtle Mountain Provincial Park, take the time to take some of the trails. There's some great walking paths and areas to walk to and other hidden lakes that you can get to, and it just makes a great day of discovery. In June, we took the van out for another trip to visit some friends in High River, Alberta, and after a stop at our favorite Walmart in Medicine Hat, we continued driving on through beautiful looking Alberta, and we got to this campground, George Lane Campground.
We're at the George Lane Campground in High River, Alberta, and it's quite a lovely campground. And because of our energy system that we've, with the whole Xantrex batteries and solar and all of that we've put into our van, we're finding that we can park then at really what this is, a tenting site. Because our van doesn't take up much more space than a vehicle, we can park in a tenting site, and of course that's a reduced cost. Yeah, we are really, really liking this. This is a beautiful spot to stay in High River, Alberta at the George Lane Campground.
With everything becoming more and more expensive, another way we try to keep control of our costs is to bring along food and stop at rest stops along the way and just make our own lunches so that we don't have to worry about buying food. And just, that is difficult for me because I love my French fries. Well, we're on our way home from High River, Alberta, and we decided to take a different route and take a more southern route in Saskatchewan, and ended up in Weyburn, Saskatchewan, and the River Park Campground, right along the river. It's a beautiful little campground, and that's our van in the distance. It's just for a quick overnight stop. We'll continue back on to Manitoba tomorrow. Started our trip to Nova Scotia, and we're running the southern route around Lake Superior, and we're heading through Minnesota, and we're in Grand Rapids, Minnesota for our first night, and we found this spot, a lovely park with a beautiful lake view, and there's no signs that say no overnight parking, so we think we can stay here. With no agenda or reservations made, we left Grand Rapids, Minnesota, and headed along the southern coast of Lake Superior through Michigan and Wisconsin. Our goal for this night was to reach Ashland, Wisconsin, and see if we could find a place again that we could camp for free. But on the way there, we got to stop off at a beautiful beach and just spend some time in the hot weather swimming in Lake Superior.
We're ready to leave our second night, and this is the place where we stayed. It's just a park, and we had a really quiet night's sleep here. Met some people from New York. It was a great time visiting with them last night here on the grass, and this is our campground that we stayed at.
After a long day of driving yesterday, we decided that we would stay at a provincial park in Ontario, and we just asked for a non-service site. We were a little bit too tired to drive any further, but that was a mistake. $45 a night for a non-service site in Ontario. That's crazy, especially when you're used to camping for free.
We're at Chutes Campground, Chutes Provincial Campground, which has this great waterfalls hiking area as well attached to the campground. You can visit the hiking trails. I think you have to pay a small fee, but as part of the campground, you can come visit as well if you're camping here. So yesterday afternoon, we pulled into this marina parking lot. We walked over to the beach, spent some time beaching. It's behind that bandstand over there. Big, beautiful beach. And then as we were coming back to our vehicle, there was a band setting up, and they told us they were playing some country and some old rock and roll. So we decided to stay parked here and listen to the music for the evening.
Maybe right, maybe great.
And this was our spot for the night. There was no signs. We walked around carefully around this entire parking lot looking for any signs that said no overnight parking, and there's nothing. And so this is here in North Bay, Ontario, and I'm going to tell you, I feel like it was a great way to overnight, and we just lucked into that concert last night, and it was a beautiful sunset. We walked along the pier. There's ice cream at the end of the pier. I don't know if you can see the ship in the distance. There's even evening cruises, sunset cruises from this spot. So for us, it was a win. It was a really great evening and a place to spend the night.
Sometimes you get to park in some unique spots, and while traveling we spent some time mooch docking. This is at my brother's place in Ottawa. We are just outside of Quebec City, and we stayed at some friends' place. We met them in Florida this last year in Cape Canaveral, and they've invited us to come and stay with them, so we stayed overnight on their driveway. There's mooch docking again that we weren't expecting to do, and this is their view. We found this nice little campsite, the lighthouse in the background, and right on the St. Lawrence Seaway, and all of a sudden we've got people everywhere. There's a couple of vans on that side. There's a camper right in front of us. This place is packed. It's free RV parking in Rimousk. Well, we had a long drive today from Gaspé, and we made it to Miramichi.
It was a bit of a drive with lots of stops.
Yeah, lots of stops, but it was a beautiful drive, just absolutely gorgeous. But we needed something to eat. We're dry camping in a park nearby here, and we found this place called Apero's Mobile Kitchen.
And beer gardens.
And beer gardens, so yeah.
Well, the classic visit to Nova Scotia means going to Peggy's Cove, and here we are in the harbor, or little inlet where the boats are. We're loving this, and there's fog that's rolled in, so we're really kind of loving the whole feel of it. Well, part of an excursion with our family, Karen and Larry, we are on their boat, stuck here in the middle of the ocean. No, we're anchored. And the guys are rowing our stuff over to the beach. And that's chairs and our picnic stuff and our towels, and we're going to hang out at the beach for the day. But to do that, we have to row the boat we have to have a little rowboat along, right, Karen? And the guys are going to drop off the stuff, and then hopefully Larry comes back for us. So that's kind of how it works. And, you know, this is an island where I guess people like to go to Saddle Island. And they like to go to Saddle Island to just kind of hang out at the beach.
We have been in Halifax to see my sister and brother-in-law many times over the years, but it's always a treat to go spend time on the harbor front with them, and we had another good day just wandering about Halifax and seeing the sights. After spending time in Halifax with my sister and her family, we headed off to Lunenburg. Actually saw the Blue Nose 2 come in while we were here, and then from there we headed to southern Nova Scotia with a stop off in Yarmouth and then over to Digby. Well, we spent a late night in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. Did some late night coastal driving and shooting last night. Came in through a rainstorm and ended up in our favorite cross-country campground, Walmart. We are in Digby, Nova Scotia. We've been driving for a while, touring and visiting and seeing sights, and just needed a time for a bit of a break. We're gonna stay here overnight. I'm not sure where yet, but it's still early afternoon, mid-afternoon. But I want to work on some video stuff for a bit, so I thought, we'll stop by this little roadside park right in Digby. We have a fishing pier in the distance. So we'll find a place to spend the night here for one night. And then tomorrow afternoon, we get on the ferry and head across the Bay of Fundy and head into St. John, New Brunswick. Well, another night spent at our favorite campground. We stayed on a harbor front in Digby till late last night, and then just moved over here for the night sleeping. There's a few RVs left. We're the late risers. Most of them are all gone already. And today we're off to the Digby Neck to go tour and see if we can find some whales and other stuff.
Well, we're heading on to this little ferry that takes us across the Bay of Fundy. And how many ferries will that be today? How many ferries will we be crossing today, Wade?
Well, one across this way and one across coming back, I guess.
And then we're going to go on a ferry from Digby to St. John. So, yeah, kind of a fun little day of doing different things. We don't do this in the prairies.
Not with the Atlantic Ocean on one side and the Bay of Fundy on the other.
No kidding. I'm assuming you have to go that way.
If you are traveling in Nova Scotia and you're near Digby, take the Digby Neck and you'll actually come across something called Balancing Rock. And it has an interesting story, and you can see one of our past videos to see more. So it turns out the ferry from Digby to St. John, New Brunswick is quite busy. We had hoped to cross tomorrow morning, however it was already full, and this one was almost full, but we did get a last minute booking. And so now we wait in line and prepare to board the ferry for the 2.5 hour ride to St. John, New Brunswick. And with that, we bid a fond adieu to Nova Scotia. We have spent just over a week here, and it has been wonderful. We have about a week of mooch ducking that we're doing with family here in New Brunswick. This is the view we see from our van, and we'll show you just a piece of the cottage in the view, but it's a beautiful sight. And we have Lorraine's two sisters and their husbands here with us as well. It's one of their cottages. We are just exploring St. John, New Brunswick.
Not yet.
It's going like, oh. There we go.
Downtown St. Andrew, right off the Bay of Fundy. If you're visiting Minister's Island near St. Andrews in New Brunswick, during low tide you can walk or drive across a seemingly innocuous road to get to the destination. During high tide, however, Bar Road, the island's only access to the mainland, is covered by 20 feet of water. It's quite a neat thing driving on the ocean floor. Covenhoven, the mansion, began construction in 1891 and after 7 modifications became the 50-room residence you see here today.
To all the RVs in lane 1 behind us, I am so sorry that we were in lane 2. We thought we were doing the right thing, but we could not see any sign that said that bus and RV lane is number 1. And interestingly enough, no one's letting us in. And now we have a
Border Patrol agent.
Oh yeah, Border Patrol agent came up to us and he said he'd make sure somebody would let us into this lane. This is just so awkward. So there's a big scanner system for RVs to drive through, and I don't think we've had to do that before,
that's
have
a
we?
first.
So anyway, this is a new adventure for us at this crossing guard. We've crossed into the US many times.
After an interesting border crossing from New Brunswick into Maine, we then took the number 2 highway and headed towards Williston, Vermont. And we like to travel through the US from time to time, so we took the northeastern states. And from Williston, we spent a night at the Walmart, once again, our favorite camping spot it seems. And then from there we headed north and headed into Cornwall, Ontario.
Okay, pulled out of the tolling station, and now we pull into the Canadian border. Let's read the signs carefully, see if there's a specific spot for RVs. We don't want that to happen to us again. Yeah, no lineups, and I see no big scanner machines, so maybe it's just good anywhere.
We're on our way home, so we're making just quick stops and heading out again first thing in the morning. But today we want to spend some time out on Manitoba Island on Lake Huron. So we're getting a bit of an earlier start. Five years ago or so, Lorraine and I drove through here. This is on Lake Superior, close to Agua Provincial Park, and we found this area where you could camp for free. It's part of Ontario Provincial Parks, but there's free camping here. So we have waited for 5 years before we could finally able to come back and do this. This is our view, and it's a beautiful view of Lake Superior. There's a few little pathways and roads you have to travel through to get here. There's one other vehicle back there, the van. And then here's our van here, and then there's a tent or two the left of us yet. There's a few roads you have to travel through to get to this one little road. They're sandy roads, so you have to watch out for mud and stuff like that, but we're just high enough that we can make it through. So here is our boondocking, dry camping trip. It's gonna almost end off on Lake Superior. So Lorraine found this area on Overlander. And apparently you can camp here for free. There's a deep rut there. I'm a little nervous about that one. Okay, here we go, down the hill. There's sea waits. Okay, so we go that way. We can go that way. Well, Lorraine has found us some strange sights on Overlander, but this is going to be one of the weirdest ones. You saw the driveway that I drove in on. We'll show you a better view of it on the way out later on tomorrow. But we're spending the evening on this creek, or the night actually.
In 3 kilometers, take exit 18A for Pembina Highway, Manitoba 42 North.
Nice.
Our summer of camping in Canada, from High River, Alberta to the far eastern shores of Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, was a wonderful time connecting with family and friends. But it also gave us a taste of what we can experience with the alterations made to our van. The new lithium battery and solar panels allowed us to see the possibilities of more affordable travel. Over the 6 weeks that we were gone, we only paid for 2 campsites and found many places to stay off that were really off the beaten path. And of course, the Walmart parking lots were always available when we were not able to find anything else. We arrived home at the end of August and immediately winterized our van and prepared for a once-in-a-lifetime trip to the UK and then off to Tanzania and Dashir Lodge and Safaris. We won't do a recap of those trips for now as the videos were just released, so you can see more of them on our channel. 2023 has been truly a year of experiences, and we appreciate the chance we've had to share these with you. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section. And if you've enjoyed these videos, please take the time to subscribe. This really helps us to grow our channel. And if you want to see more of our videos, ring the notification bell and you will get a reminder of when new videos are available. At this time, we have nothing planned for the winter as we stay home and enjoy family. However, this spring, we are already planning a trip with close friends who have just recently purchased a travel van. But no details are ready yet to be shared. Thank you so much for spending time with us. We love sharing our journey with you. As 2024 gets underway, we don't know what the future holds, but we do know that we need to hold our plans loosely.